Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my garden. We've a nice day here today and we've had relatively good week. Loads of work done this week in the garden. Nothing like the first week of April to shock you into getting some big jobs done. So I've got some of my beds filled here in the last few days, and today I'm hoping to get the rest of them done, and while I'm doing that I'm going to give you a look at some of the jobs that I've got done this week.
Watering and tending the seedlings in the propagator is a daily and sometimes twice daily chore. Here I'm getting my tray of seed compost dampened and ready for sowing my second round of flower seeds. I've had this tray sitting here for a wee while, hoping to get out to do it, but of course it took a while, so it had dried up. But thankfully it's very easy to rehydrate this compost. And when the list of jobs starts getting a little bit overwhelming, the first thing I have to do is write out a list. I just find the list helps me to prioritise all the jobs, and actually I really think it helps me get them done quicker as well. And here I'm just checking off my list against my planting plan for the raised beds outside the greenhouse. I have this planting plan done since the winter time, and honestly I couldn't remember even what I'd put in it. So I decided it was time to check that off and to see if I had everything sown for that, or if I still had more stuff to sow. I finally decided what seeds I was sowing for my second tray of flowers, and you'll get an update on this tray of seedlings at the end of the video. And I finally got tackling into this strawberry bed. It's been waiting a while to be done as well. I was getting loads of strawberry runners of this bed. It was really actually holding me up in the end, but in true Cavan woman style, I couldn't forego all the free plants that I was going to get. I already have loads of strawberry runners planted, as you will see at the end of the video as well. But I just couldn't toss up the chance to get a load more free strawberry plants. That's the thing about strawberries. They're the plant that keeps on giving. I also decided it was high time I got all these bulbs and corms and tubers put into pots so that it could at least have a chance at growing. So I potted these up and put them outside for them to wake up outside in the outdoor temperatures, which would leave them more hardy.
So I think I can finally say I'm happy with this space now. I've all the beds filled, lots of weeding done, and thankfully the area is all ready just to plant up now over the next few weeks. Between now and the beginning of May, depending on the weather, some things might be frost hardy. I'll have to wait a little bit longer on them. And sometimes I'd take the chance, if we have nice, fine, warm weather, I'd take the chance and plant out the frost tender stuff anyway. So I'm going to give you a quick run through now from the gate back to the greenhouse, and just give you a close-up of the work that I've done. So we're starting here at the gate. I weeded this area all up. It was quite covered in weeds. I do still have to feed it yet. I have a rose climbing up here. I have that trimmed back now and tied on again to the fence. These are blueberries. I haven't them cut back yet. I'm just going to wait off a wee while before I cut them back. I don't like cutting them back too much. I'm hoping to get a good crop off those this year. So I figured maybe cutting them back might be detrimental. They do need a good feed of an acidic feed to help the blueberries come along, and I've done the same on the other side. So trimmed back the rows and just weeded, and then as we go through the gate you can see all the lovely fresh beds, all just ready for planting. So the only beds that I have anything planted in at the minute are the strawberries, which you've seen earlier in the year, and my overwintering onions. And honestly, when you look at the strawberry bed and see how far down the soil is gone now compared to all the freshly filled beds, I'm even more tempted to pull the whole lot out and just top that one up with compost as well. So the 10 beds, well, 8 of the 10 beds are ready for planting in now. Like I said, the other 2 have stuff in them. Over here I have a selection of stuff hardening off most of it. So I have asparagus plants here, which you can see the little baby sprigs. They'll soon be going to flower, and I will plant those out. I got caught before planting asparagus crowns directly in the ground and they didn't do anything. So this year I decided to put them in pots first and see if they'd come on before I'd waste my time getting a bed ready to put them in. So thankfully this year they're doing great. My onions, 2 varieties of onions here hardening off. They're the Bedfordshire Champion, and over here I have the Ailsa Craig. Now you can see the stems are coming along nicely. You can get in close there, you can see they're starting to thicken up, and I'll soon pot them on into just individual cells with pot and compost, and then plant them out the beginning of May. Also all my strawberry plants, you can see here, I planted them earlier on in the year when I cleared that strawberry bed, the high raised bed here. What else have we? All these are bulbs which you'll have seen me planting earlier in the video. So these are wild corms, technically, anemone, and I have echinacea roots there. And over on the far side then are ranunculus, more asparagus plants there, and these here are lonicera. These are honeyberries. Like I explained before, I think they're very similar to a blueberry, or so I'm told. So the plan is that these get planted in my large bed, which I'll bring you to in a minute as well. They grow into a good sized shrub from what I can remember. The thing with blueberries is they need acidic ground, whereas these lonicera or honeyberries are fine in more alkaline ground, which suits me perfectly. Because even using ericaceous compost on my blueberries, if I'm watering using the tap, which I'll have to in the summertime, like there's a lot of lime in our water, so therefore it kind of neutralizes the ericaceous compost, which is no good for the blueberries. So while we do get a crop of blueberries, it's not anything near what it would be if we had lovely acidic soil. Having said that, I'm not complaining about the acidic soil, because we can grow so much other vegetables and plants in our more alkaline soil. In this pot here I have red currants coming on. These were bought bare root and pretty much just healed in the pot. So healed in is just a fancy term to say they were stuck in a pot to keep them alive till I found a place to plant them out. And I'm glad to say that the shoots are starting to come on them now. I was actually beginning to worry that they were dead, but the leaves are starting to, the buds are starting to swell on them now and break out. So I'm delighted to see that. And we'll bring it into the greenhouse. Not much done in the greenhouse, except it's weeded for one. The weeds were starting to take over, and I'm sure when there's a regular watering schedule in here, they will most definitely take off. Especially tomatoes, I'm expecting them to start germinating very soon. Usually the tomatoes from last season start to sprout then this year. I have a nice crop of lettuce coming along, cos lettuce there. They were actually ones that I planted out, plugs that I planted out in, I think, early December. That something, probably slugs, but I was not convinced it was slugs, but they ate them back completely to the roots. And funnily enough, they started to grow again. So I'm delighted to have this crop of lettuce, and I'm letting it head up properly so that I get a good decent crop out of it, because all my other lettuce is very small, sparse, or else my seedlings coming along, which I'm going to be a while waiting on. So this polytunnel is all ready for planting out my tomatoes. I'd nearly chance planting them out in the next week or two. It's just hard to know if I should take the chance or not. We'll see what the weather forecast is like. Now over here the potting bench is like, well, it's like a bomb hit it, but this is normal for April gardening. So lots of seedlings coming along up there. That's my herbs. Both of them are all my herbs coming along nicely. Ready for potting up some of them. Hopefully it'll be done over the next few days. Lettuce here that I potted on. So originally I sowed lettuce in one of these trays. I pricked out the extras So from this bottom tray, I picked out the extras and put them into this, which is the exact same tray, and I put it into pot and compost. The originals, which were in the seed compost, weren't doing well, so the other day I've picked them out and I've put them into these pot and composts here, these big pots. So these are growing on and they'll get planted out in another week or so, and I'm hoping that these are going to overtake these now, and I'll still have a succession of lettuce coming on while I'm waiting for my cut and come again, which will be sown out in some of these raised beds now. While I'm waiting on that to come on, I'll have all of this coming on behind, in front of it. My leeks here, again, leeks are very slow to grow. They're coming on nicely. 2 pots of those. And I will soon be doing a sowing for overwinter now, another couple of weeks. Now in here are all my flower seeds. If you just give me a minute, I'm going to make space and take them out and show you them. So I realise this isn't really much to show, but this is something I'm super proud of actually, because I've had great germination success with most varieties. This tray here is the one you seen me sowing earlier in the video. So we're 5 days later and we have great germination coming so far. So at the end of it here I was sticking in tomatoes and chilies, which it's quite late for sowing them, but they're mostly cherry varieties, so I'm not really too worried. The one Roma variety isn't a cherry variety, but it will be used for cooking and preserving, which I'm happy to get later in the season. So I'm hoping to get these towards the end of August, beginning of September, when things quieten down a wee bit in the garden and I have more time for preservation. So apart from the few tomatoes and chilies at the very end, everything else is flowers. I have said before, I don't have a whole lot of experience growing flowers from seed, but I think this will give me a little bit more confidence. Now there's a lot of work to go yet between the stage they're at now and actually getting them into the ground and producing flowers. So again, we'll try and not count our chickens before they're hatched, but I'm pretty confident I will get some flowers out of this. This other tray was sown a week beforehand, and honestly it doesn't look a whole lot further on, to be quite honest. Now some of these are going leggy already, but I am still waiting on a few to germinate. So these are geraniums, the pelargonium type geranium, and I want to get them all germinated. So I'm going to leave them in, even though we're getting leggy plants, I'm going to leave them in the propagator just for another few days, just to see if we can get better germination for some of the varieties. But last year, there's a lot of cosmos in here, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have more over here, 6, 7 rows of cosmos there. And last year I tried to grow cosmos and I could not get them germinated for the life of me. And some of these are the same seed that I would have been sowing last year, and I was convinced of 2 things last year. I had destroyed my seeds by leaving them in the greenhouse, and secondly, the compost that I was growing in wasn't helping my cause. And this year is definitely affirming that opinion. I definitely think the compost was a big problem. Obviously the heat in the greenhouse did not do a whole pile of damage to my seeds after all. I think the main problem was the compost, and I was the one preaching about peat-free compost. So moving to compost with a little bit of peat. It is definitely less peat than there has been, but I'm convinced that we still need peat in some form or other, or a good alternative, which we just don't seem to have come up with yet, in our compost. We can't just go peat free all of a sudden and expect our plants to do as good as they had been all the years previous. So quickly I'll go through the varieties. I already said cosmos, several different types of cosmos. If they come to fruition and flower, you get to see them. Like I said, Roma tomatoes, a few cherry varieties, one chili pepper firecracker it's called, a type of scabiosa which is nice as a dried flower, Scabiosa stellata, and actually the seeds, I don't know if you've seen the seeds when I was sowing them, they're very unusual looking seeds, but they're all germinating on me now, which I'm delighted with. Dianthus, a couple of different varieties or colours of dianthus, a perennial variety of status, stocks, chocolate lace flower, lobelia. Actually none of my lobelia is germinated, both were old seeds, but I also know lobelia can take a long time to germinate, so I'm not giving up on it yet. And geranium horizon star, a good bit of germination on them. There's 2 packets of seeds and that, so I really want to get bang for my buck on those. Those can go into containers, which is probably what I'll do with them, or hanging baskets. So I'm really looking for good germination on those, so we'll have to keep them in for another wee while. I have a type of euphorbia here, lovely as a cut flower. I see I have one germinated out of 1 out of 13 cells. Not great, but it's a start if nothing else. I have Gara here as well, summer breeze Gara, none germinated yet, but I'm still hopeful. Celosia, 2 types of celosia, flamingo feather and pampas plume, relatively good germination on both of those. Then I have snapdragons. I have about 3 rows of snapdragons there. They're coming on quite thickly and they'll probably need to be thinned out a little bit too. Amaranth, green amaranth, love lies bleeding it's called as well. And then I have 2 rows of China asters. Actually I have another 1 or 2 of those somewhere else. More stalks here. Delphinium, I have not germinated yet for me, but like I said, I'll not give up hope just completely. 3 different types of delphinium, which I would love to get some for cut flowers, but I already have delphiniums in the garden which should be blooming this year. So if I don't get them, it'll not be the end of the world. Bells of Ireland, I see 1 germinated here at the back, so hopefully more of them will come along in the next couple of days. Gypsophila, Covent Garden, lots of that coming along. Yeah, there's another aster, ostrich plume mixed aster. Reasonable germination on that row. Aquilegia don't seem to have germinated at all. That packet of seeds, I'm nearly sure were from a discount store. So, you know, if they don't germinate, I'll blame that. But, you know, it could very well be something I'm doing wrong. We'll see. And then another variety of status, sea lavender mix, nice colour, and again they're great for dried flowers, which I'm hoping to get some as well. Rebecca there, don't seem to have any germination at all on the Rebecca, but again they're old seed that I had already. So overall I'm quite happy with the germination on those. There'll probably be a few disappointments. I had expected that anyway, but for one that hasn't much experience in growing flowers from seed, you know, it's a good start. But like I say, we won't count the chickens until they're hatched. I'll wait till these are in the ground and flowering before I do too much celebrating. So I hope you enjoy coming along with me over this, well, basically a week of working in the garden. I want to give you a sneak peek of what I have coming up for me, facing me, this next coming week, which it'll be the next video you'll see. I'm hoping to get started on it this afternoon, but we'll see. I'll give you a sneak peek of it. So this is a gardener's life here. Basically you spend half your time shoveling muck, but this is exciting for me though at the same time, because it means that one of our major projects is getting started. So this is mushroom compost that I got locally, and it all has to be put in this bed here. I'll probably need more along with what I have here, but at least it's a start. So I'm excited to be getting this project started, and hopefully in the next month or two it'll be finished as well and buttoned up. Another corner of the garden buttoned up for good, hopefully. So anyway, that's what I have to look forward to for the rest of the week, getting that shoveled into the bed. But might be hard on the muscles, but it'll be worth it in the end, and I'll be glad to see it finished and finally buttoned up for good. I'm sure there'll be lots of maintenance over the years to it, and probably a few changes and additions into it. But if I get it at least productive, that'll be a good start. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I'm hoping that I'm at least maybe inspiring some of you to get started or get some jobs done in your own garden. I'd really like to hear what progress you're all at in your own gardens, considering we're into the first week of April here already. The gardening season doesn't be long coming around after all. It feels like we're sitting around all winter and then all of a sudden it's May. So let me know in the comments down below what stage you're at in the garden. Are you still waiting to sow seeds and plant stuff out, or are you way ahead of me? Let me know, make me jealous. So comment down below and let me know. So like this video down below if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. That'll keep you up to date with notifications when I put up a new video. Press the bell as well, that helps. And again, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.